Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It's Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I'm Eric Alarid, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every week by Dawn Dantzler, Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. Hello, Dawn. How are you doing?
Hey, Eric. I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing fantastic. I'm excited. It is, like I said, Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We're about to get rolling. We have a very special guest. I think the most featured guest on the program at this point. I think he's
pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining us this week, the great, the masterful, the Ragin' Cajun, Justin Ordeneaux, Senior Vice President of Construction. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good, Eric. How are you doing?
Super great. I know you're excited to be here with us, or at least with Dawn. So, thank you. First of all, thank you for agreeing to do this, folks. I forgot to say this. Guys, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building, what part of the process that you are in. We are going to talk about all things building on your land. That's what we're here to answer your questions about. So if you got questions about design, if you got questions about financing, if you got questions about site preparation, now would be a great episode to talk about site preparation. You got questions about utilities. You got questions about construction. Are you under construction right now? If you're under construction right now, this guy is your building superintendent's boss's boss's boss. That's who this guy is. That's who's here. So jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Vimeo for both people that watch over there. You're welcome. If I knew who you were, I would call you out. I'd send you a gift card. I would do that. But I don't know who you are. But
suddenly everyone's trying to figure out what Vimeo is. I
know. It is it's YouTube without ads. It's wonderful. So that's what Vimeo is. Anyway, jump into the chat, folks. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process that you're in. We got Eric, we got Dawn, we got Justin Ordeneaux. He's going to give us some updates about what he is seeing in the field as far as construction go. We're going to talk time frames. We're going to we got look at that name tags. Look at there, Justin. Yours magically fit all the way on there. That's crazy. But I know we got some folks watching, or we'll have folks watching that haven't met you before. Maybe you haven't even seen us before. We may have first-time folks. So before we get started, Justin, give us a little bit of your journey as in the construction career. Why would you want to do this? What crazy bone in your body made you want to wake up and start driving nails and putting houses together for people out in the middle of nowhere? Where are you from? How'd you get here? And what do you do here?
So I'm the Senior Vice President of Construction for Tilson. So I grew up kicking around job sites, as you well know. So since I was about 17 years old in some form or fashion, I was doing electrical or framing during the summers or during going to school at SAM. And that really kind of led me down the path. I had some really good mentors that were contractors at that point, told me I should stay in this industry. So I started out in the subdivision. That was who gave me my first opportunity. So I was grateful to learn a lot about sticks and bricks there, but I'm a country boy at heart, and so I enjoy being out on tracts of land or out in little small towns or sometimes the big cities, a little mixture of both or all of the above. And so Tilson was a natural fit for me about 17 years ago. I had a friend recommend me to come over, and I had the opportunity to build. I used to build anywhere from Katy all the way out to Yoakum, out to Smithville, anywhere in that direction. And then fortunately got promoted as to Vice President of Construction for Gulf Coast. And then as our COO was kind of nudging on the door of retirement, Eddie and Mike and several others came to me and said, hey, would you like this opportunity? And I was like, yes, I'd love to run the state of Texas and go see all the foreign lands that we have here. different terrains, different construction types and styles, and all that fun stuff. So that's where I'm at.
And as an added perk to the position that you didn't know about, folks, he is also a Hilton Diamond member because of his many, many night stays in the Hampton Inn.
I enjoy living in the Hamptons.
If you pull up to a Hampton Inn in the middle of nowhere and see a Toyota Tacoma parked in the Diamond membership parking right there out front, it's probably Justin Ordeneaux.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. You can't hide prosperity.
He's right.
But not hide prosperity. All right. So, guys, we are, again, if you're joining us just now, tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process that you're in. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're going to be talking about all things building on your land. We'll probably start a little bit out with, we'll probably skip the part about the beginning process. But if you got questions about the beginning process, that's why we're here. Mm-hmm. But because we have Justin, he's devoted his time with us. We are going to talk about site preparation, things to look out for. We're going to talk about utilities for sure. We got to get the word out about these utility companies. I got a cool story from Mr. Jeff Waite this morning about one of our customers who was persistent, to say the least. It's a great story with a happy ending. Nice. For her anyway. I don't know about the power company, but so anyway, we're going to talk about what impacts those. But jump in, tell us where you're watching from, where you are building, what part of the process you're in. Questions about construction, questions about time frame, questions about site preparation stuff, questions about where to or where to not buy property, questions about design financing. We got financing answers for you. Mm-hmm. So, Dawn, do we have anyone joining us, or are we just the three of us talking to each other?
Yes, we do. We've got J-Bo joining us. Hi, having our walkthrough for our Preston and Medina County this week.
All right. Awesome. It's been a long time coming, J-Bo. Faithful viewer.
We've got Natalie, who lives in Frisco right now. Just bought a few acres in Pottsboro. We're debating floor plans right now. This would be our weekend home. Awesome.
All right, Natalie. Now, I got to know, are you actually in Pottsboro, or are you just out in Grayson County somewhere? Because there are very few people in Pottsboro, Texas. But they're right up there near Lake Texoma. Beautiful, beautiful spot. So just curious if Pottsboro is suddenly just exploding. I want to know. Something we should know about.
All right. We got Francis, who's watching from Weatherford.
Welcome, Francis. Howdy.
We've got Shonda building an Angelina on Richland Chambers Lake. Inside paint tomorrow. Yay. Eli is our builder, and he has made this build so easy. He has been so committed to communicating every step as we go. Awesome. That's so great to hear.
Good to hear. Man, we end the show right there. Done. That's what.
That's awesome. We've got Kenneth under construction in Deer Forest. Floors are going in our driftwood this week.
Awesome, Kenneth.
And Natalie says that her address is actually Pottsboro, and it is near Lake Texoma.
Yeah. Yes, but she's north of Pottsboro.
But the post office says it's Pottsboro.
Oh, believe me, I know all about how accurate they are.
We got Lauren. Hi, framing on our canyon is complete. Waiting on HVAC, hoping to have them there tomorrow. Awesome.
Oh, very cool. Lauren, tell us where. We want to know where. We can probably find it out. But
and we got Chris in Fort Worth building at PK Rock going up and Sheetrock. Very happy with Cal. He is an excellent construction manager. Awesome. That's great to hear.
These people putting their guys in for raises, Justin. This is
that's awesome.
Paul is doing a phenomenal job up there.
And Lawrence Canyon is in Washington County.
Ah, beautiful. All right, just over the Brazos River. Thank you, Lauren.
Very nice.
All right, so guys, again, keep jumping in. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process that you're in. Are you just thinking about doing this? Do you live in a subdivision somewhere? You want to get out and away? Or are you under construction? Or are you under contract? You've done your stakeout? You got questions about maybe a site evaluation that came up? But Justin, tell us some of the things to be on the lookout for. One of the first things that happens when a customer enters into agreement with us is we go out to their property and meet them on site. What are we trying to ascertain at this site evaluation? What are we looking for? What's going on?
Generally, I think we always fall in love with the property. There's something about it, whether it's possibly the neighbors, possibly it's a tree, a lake, whatever it might be. The opportunities to raise livestock, maybe, or just be away from people.
Yeah, lack of neighbors. That's always one.
Yeah, that's the way I go. So I think one of those things when you're establishing that idea, you maybe have not considered all the options that the property has to offer as to where that home's going to be located. And maybe you have, but then you got to start bringing all the infrastructure. How do you get everything to work? We can build a home anywhere, but can you make it work? And so you start factoring in. You got to meet with utility companies that sometimes might need an easement of some kind, whether that's a blanket or defined easement, something of that nature that's going to maybe be a prohibitor. believe it or not, in some parts of the state, we have properties that are a little bit out of level, 10 feet or 12 feet. I was at a house the other day where actually Eric was joining me, and we took a picture, and I think that slab was only 6 foot out of level. Had one that was 10 foot. So you start figuring out maybe there might be a better location yet. And sometimes the plan that you're choosing, you want to sculpt that plan a little bit to kind of mirror what you want to see when you're looking out those large windows. In fact, I sent Dawn a picture from a house. I was out near Smithville the other day. It was one of Zach Stone's homes, and it had a beautiful view off the back. Everything just worked perfect on that house. So our site evaluators are going to help guide you through that, make sure that there's no limitations as to what might be possible. We might be looking for cost effective, and sometimes money might not matter. So we can handle any of those things that we need to. But once you figure those things out, you still have more infrastructure. You got to possibly be locating a well or a septic system that might have to go into place. So there might have to be a little strategy around that, as well as other improvements that you're going to add, whether that's a shop or a pool, whatever that might be. So really trying to help guide the customer at that point on all the things that must be present, and then future considerations as we go on through the build, beyond the build. So that's what we're trying to establish.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Very cool. So we get that all settled. They get kind of a to-do list of things, right? Like, hey, call your power company, get septic system permitted. Are any of these things that we can help with, and to what degree can we help? Like,
Sure.
how does that work?
So we certainly
You're
can
the
help.
builder. Shouldn't you get the power set up? What are you doing? Like,
Sometimes it's just a hassle getting the number, right? Who do I call? Which department do I, before, so I don't have to ran around 3 different, you need to call this person instead of that one. So on the easiest side, we can certainly assist with that. Wells and septics, and then actual roads. We'll get into pads. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about at some point today, pads and things of that nature. But these are things that we can help with, and we can do ourselves. And it's kind of nice to have it under our umbrella because we control it. You don't have to worry. You sit back. You don't have to worry. Are they going to show up? How many times do I need to call this contractor to make sure? We have a relationship, generally speaking, with the contractor base that's going to make sure that we get done when we need to get done. And we have windows and contracts, and you don't have to be worrying about somebody taking half the money up front and then never showing up, which we've had. Unfortunately, that has come up with customers where they put a deposit down on something and the company just evaporates. They don't go away. So we can take a lot of that burden and that worry right off of your plate by managing that through Tilson.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very nice.
Well, Dawn, I think we got a couple of questions that have popped up. So let's dive right in.
We got Jabo asking, since 2020 code requires electricity be set up with either type 1 or 2 whole house surge protection on new construction, what does Tilson use? Can we see anything to identify this on our panel meter?
You will see something on your panel meter.
Hey, real quick, is the code part right, Justin? Is that what code we're talking about?
So they require a whole house surge protector. There's a type that's actually a separate box, and they have another one that has a breaker that's incorporated into the existing panel to create the surge protection. So we do not mandate to our electricians which style they go with. So if you have a preference, we can certainly coordinate with our electricians and see which one that they can provide you. I see a variety of different types of surge protection.
Well,
but
he's doing his walkthrough next week. So
his is in. His is in.
So you should be able to see a breaker, or there might be a little supplemental box down at the bottom or a panel off to the side. That is generally what you'll see there.
Yeah, Jay, but what I've seen is if you open up your breaker box kind of at the top, they use the ones I've seen, they do it at the top. It could be anywhere, but the ones I've seen our guys doing are at the top, and they're very different. They don't look like the rest of the breakers. So check it out.
And your builder will point that out to you, so he can point that out during the walkthrough as well.
Okay, wonderful. And then we have Andy, who is joining us, building in Needville, far enough from Houston, building a Travis A, and sheetrock is starting soon.
Justin, have you ever been to Needville, Texas?
I lived there for a little bit.
Andy, old Mr. Ordeneaux's got some roots there in Needville.
Yes.
Deep roots.
Yes. I know some folks in Needville, Texas.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have Shane joining us. Thinking of building in Bell County and get your newsletters all the time. awesome.
Oh, Bill has, yeah, a lot of folks, Shane, running for them their hills from Austin and the surrounding areas, the Cedar Parks, the Leanders, the Pflugervilles, the Round Rocks, even the Georgetowns. They're getting up and away, running away to Belton and Temple and Lampasas and Burnett. So you're among friends, like-minded folks. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about timeframes, Justin. We've seen obviously two and a half years of just craziness. 2.5 years of hurry up and wait, waiting on things, waiting on people, waiting on whatever. Stuff shows up, it's short, it's not right. Like what are you seeing any kind of normalization whatsoever? If so, where? If not, where? And what kind of time frames are you seeing all over the state? Kind of go around the state with us and let's talk time frames a little bit.
So it's a fair question. So supply chain's gotten a lot better. We were very fortunate in a lot of ways. We still saw the disruption and felt it, as anybody would attest to. But lately we have seen just an improvement. And I think it's also beyond just what they were supplied with, but the labor force going back to work. And I meet with a lot of companies and you hear about restructuring and things that they're now doing differently to be more efficient, to make sure that they are capturing those materials and the back orders are actually getting delivered and there's some kind of documentation associated with it so that everybody's making sure that they're on track. As we move around what we would call our North Texas market, the DFW market, things are improved there. I was running through some cycle time numbers earlier, and we've really started to see a dramatic improvement specifically on the front end, which is and then Eric and Dawn will attest to, the most critical thing as to where I can really gauge what a cycle time is going to do is based on the number of framers that we have, just because the time it takes for that aspect to be completed can be anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the size of the home. But that contractor must be there continuously for that duration, whereas everything else is generally maybe a 2-3 day activity. And so we've been able to harvest quite a few framers that have really come in and done some good work. So that's helping assist us. Now, this little weather spell we've had, I'm out in Hallettsville now, in the Hallettsville area anyhow. Weather has not been kind. My little pond that I enjoy so much has been spilling over. And I live on a piece of property that's got an overall 30-foot elevation difference from front to back. And it's too wet to drive on the hill. So we're going to see some postponement in some of the weather that we
Challenge accepted.
So we will.
Eric's going to be over there tearing it up.
I would like to think as we enter into the summer, we're probably going to get into a little bit drier season. It's warmer, the days are longer. So generally we see an uptick in production as we move through the summer months. It's kind of builder's Christmas, if you will, as far as being able to actually construct, do your job and not have to do things multiple times, rescheduling, coordinating somebody else to show up, seeing if you can juggle the schedule a little bit to keep momentum going. So we're hoping to see a little bit of that subside. Statewide, we're trying to get down to below we're knocking on the door. I've ran through the list this morning and we've got a lot of folks that their cycle times are below 225 days. Actually have multiple that are clicking to be sub 200.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
when you say cycle time, what does that mean?
The amount of time that we're actually from the minute the builder receives the file to the point of closing. That's what we're going to measure in construction.
So construction.
Yeah. So that's not including what we usually talk about with upfront, where we're talking about doing plans and getting permits and all of that stuff.
That's about 140.
Builders ready to
right
go.
Now, that's about 140 days.
Okay.
So we're right in that.
Right.
So what you're seeing is, I think the market's returning to, and I hate using this term, but pre-COVID normalcy, as the market would go as far as cycle times go. Sounds like on all fronts. I believe y'all are targeting 90.
We want 100, yeah. 100 is
120.
120.
So we're starting to see that return of those cycle times coming down. Labor is freeing up. That is a positive for us. The other thing we have going for us is all the subdivision builders, they're dialing back. They dialed back. They're not throwing spec homes on the ground at the rate that they were. And so a lot of our contractors were splitting time between what they had close to the house in a major metropolis compared to moving outward. Now they're knocking on the door and they want to go back out to the country and build. So that's enabling us to reduce cycle times as well. As we move from east to west, you're just seeing a continued improvement pretty much from that direction. I will tell you, it's just a really good market out there in Gillespie County. Medina's another really good market. So we're starting to see some momentum there. We actually strategically made some changes out in the Central Texas market a week ago, and we're expecting those to pay dividends to assist in reducing some cycle times out there as well. So.
All right. So folks, keep dropping your questions into the chat. Any questions about construction, questions about financing, questions about utilities. We're going to talk more about some of those things. I think Jabo had another question.
Yes, he does.
Dawn, if you throw it up there for Mr. Order. This is a great question, by the way. And
yes, this is a really good question. Are Tilson customers allowed to hire their own home inspection prior to closing? If so, how does Tilson address any issues found by this inspector?
Yeah, the answer is no. So next question, please.
The answer is yes.
So,
Eric.
We'll never run away from another set of eyes being on the build. There's always something that another perspective could bring. I would submit that it can't be an opinion based. If it goes back to, I believe, the breaker that we had earlier, hey, if it's a preference of I like this breaker, it's got to be code related when it comes to code related items. So. And what we do is I'd encourage you to coordinate with the builder, find out when he's going to be prepared for that inspection, because we have our own third-party inspectors, actually several that come in on the tail end to make sure that we're compliant at that point. So ideally, we would, just like everything else, we would schedule the time for him to come in because we owe it to him to have a house that we are calling complete. Might be some paint touch-up, a door that needs to be adjusted, something minor that wouldn't be on a code inspection. But we'll take that list, we incorporate it into the schedule to have completion done and send you on to closing. So as long as it's fact-based and code-related and not an opinion, by all means, we'll take it.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and it's not uncommon, Jabo. What I want to expand a little bit on what you mentioned about opinion-based. There are, you'll find within, it's not very hard to become a building inspector. No offense to building inspectors. Okay, it is a TREC course. The Texas Real Estate Commission is who licenses building inspectors in the state of Texas. It's not a very long course. And so it's left to a lot of interpretation, which ends up being left to a lot of preference. There are certainly some thou shalt things. Those are prescribed, right? But then there are performance-based things. Like it has to perform in this way. How you make it perform in that way is up to you. But what Justin was meaning when he said opinion-based is you'll find some inspectors that say, recommend XYZ flashing at this. Okay, well, you recommend it or that's required by code? Because we warrant our own homes. We know what we want over there. We know what we've seen in warranty after the fact. We know what our customers have experienced, and this is why we do it this way. And it meets code and performs the way we want it to perform. So we're going to come back and fix this house. So we're not using XYZ brand on there because that's what you are familiar with and you've seen and you prefer. It can't be a preference based. They can put whatever they want to on there, but we're only going to be obligated to repair or remedy something that's truly in violation of the code. I hope that maybe that clears up a little bit and helps make sense. There's all kinds of things that people would prefer to do one way or the other, but there's only one actual. There has to be a standard, and there is a standard, and that's how we do that.
Okay, awesome. And then we have Jesse joining us, saying hello. I get the chance to see y'all's beautiful faces.
Oh, Jesse, what's up?
And then she says, we are almost to the finish line on our build. Dawn, I need you to come do some interior design. You do not want me doing interior design, Jesse.
Come on, Dawn.
Really, it is not my strong suit, but I can point you to some designers who can help you.
And Jesse, I got to see your beautiful piece of property, actually with Justin. So we were hanging out, stomping around out there in
Peace.
Yeah, in Grapetown, and yep.
Peace and Priest, they're built in together.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was a pallet, I believe, that had directions.
Yep, exactly. There's a pallet stacked up this way and this way. There's an elk out front. We got all kinds of things going on out there. But yeah.
That was the autumn blend I believe that was the piece that's home that had the autumn blend chop on it.
It probably did.
Yeah. And they had just gotten their front doors.
Oh yeah, we did love the donkeys. I named the donkeys Justin and Eric. They're our spirit animals. Yep. Mine was a taller donkey, of course. This is a little bit shorter donkey.
Y'all are awful.
But Justin loves riding with me for 3 days.
Yes.
Well, he loves riding me for 1 day, but we do 3 days. And then when I rely on the whole.
Then after that, it's best for everyone that you just part ways for a while.
The heart grow fonder kind of thing. So, okay, so tell us. All right, Justin. So while we got you in the hot seat, let's talk a little bit about specifically on utilities. Let's talk about power. This is a struggle all over the state, but particularly in the Hill Country. I think even this might be applied to you, Jesse. But getting these power companies, and I'll speak broadly at first and let Justin go into it. So Texas is deregulated. In other words, there's power companies are kind of left to do their own things. Now there is a Public Utilities Commission that does regulate, what they can charge and things like that. But as far as what they require, how they want the box or the meter can or the pedestal or the rack, or is it going to be on the house? Is it on a rack? Is it on a member-owned pole? Like, what can a customer do? What questions should they ask, and what can a customer do to get this thing across the finish line? Because that seems where we struggle with this all over the state towards the end.
Well, we're working on avenues too. So in many parts of the state, we're able to get the meter can on the home early on in construction, almost before we even drywall. So that's kind of been the goal for everybody across the state. Now that doesn't always work, as you mentioned, with each power company. It's really, I bought a piece of property, and one of the first calls I made when I was looking at it, like, hey, can I get power here? So I actually started early on. So I would encourage everybody, when you're looking at buying the piece of property, if you haven't already, or if you have now, get in touch with them early on. That I would call a well company, just to see, hey, what's the depth of this well going to be? Not veering away from power, but any of those infrastructure items, the sooner, and maybe you're not scheduling, but just to get some idea as to what's possible, what the cost is going to be associated with buying that, because it is another piece that you're going into. But when it comes to the power company, early and often, persistence pays off. I think the site evaluators generally do a good job of knowing what the local requirements are, but each lot can be a little different. If you're in an acreage community, they might have special things, or if you're in a city, they might have special requirements. And at that point, if you have any questions, we do have electricians that work great. They hook up all the undergrounds. We can get in touch with them. In some cases, we might even set you up with them to have something done before construction begins, so that you have temporary power or maybe a permanent power from the beginning, and we just easily trench over. So there's multiple avenues to go into establishing permanent or power to the property. It's just early and often, Eric.
Yeah, I was trying to bring this up.
I don't know specifically what you're looking for, but
it's it. I mean, it's one that I know that customers under construction that, we'll ask them, hey, get permanent power. So I got a story for you, and I think this was with which one is CPS one? Not Child Protection Services, but
whole different thing.
CPS is one of our ones that our customers deal with, right? Where are they out of? Where's CPS? Is it Hill Country somewhere?
They're in Travis County. I think they're in Travis County. That's the other problem. I don't know all of them.
Sounds like a very Travis
I
County.
love my little co-ops.
So it is. So this customer was told, hey, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 3 months. We have no idea when you'll get your permanent power, and understanding, folks, that they are, in most of the situations, that they are, well, almost all, they are monopoly. Like they own the lines, they own the pedestals, they own the transformers, like they belong to them. In some areas, you can select your provider, who you'll ultimately buy energy from. But in most areas where our customers build, that's not an option. That you're going to be with XYZ Co-op, and that's who's going to be your power company. And most of them are absolutely knock your socks off fantastic. They really are easy to work with. They live locally. They're governed locally. Most of them have elected boards, and they have to live in the area that they service. So you go to school with these people, you go to church with these people, play Little League with these people. So most of them are good. But she wasn't getting the kind of guidance and security that she felt like she needed as one of their future customers and went to their office every single day.
Oh, wow.
When they opened, am I going to meter today? Am I going to get power today? And her undetermined 3 week to 3 month time frame quickly became, in 5 days, she had a meter. Now, that's not going to work across the board, but in this particular case, for this particular customer, it worked. And the moral of the story is it does take some level of persistence. You can go to that level of persistence until they file a TRO, or you can.
Maybe if you go to that level of persistence, like take them a treat every day, bring some donuts.
Yes, and then if that doesn't work, start taking like 17 unfed children and let them sit there and just be loud and angry. But truly, what it does take, folks, is having conversation. Like, you have to be the squeaky wheel in some of these cases. You've got to go down and make a presence, and it's important to me. I don't want to just get lost in the shuffle. Rates are changing. I need this house done. Our lease is expired. Like, can you please do something to help? What can I do to help you? Like, I've cleared the area. I've done everything I can do. Can you help me out a little bit? So that's kind of why I bring that up, because I know it's something that a lot of our customers are
right.
They struggle with it. So
well, and as much as it's something that we would love to be able to do for you, we can't because it's not our property. So you're the account holder. You're the one that's granting the easement. You're the one that the power company has to deal with. So we're kind of stuck with in that regard. Like, we really need you to take the lead on that.
I did have it here. We can come to it in a second if you wanted to, but to let Justin kind of walk through these. Dawn, and kind of share with us what we're looking at.
The different types of power.
Yeah, different types of power, maybe. So Justin, we want to go right to left. Man, I think that's a T-pole, and you've got it from there. These are just different things they might see, right? So what should they be looking for? What are these different things?
So the first one is it's just a temporary pole. And honestly, the only difference between what you see there and pretty much the remainder of these pictures is it's just a temporary 4x6 or 4x4 that this little meters. Now, the power companies will even come in and mandate certain requirements for a temporary pole. So there's not uncommon that we'll go out there and we'll put a temporary pole out, and they will object possibly to a brace, or maybe it's the meter can itself. But they generally have provisions that we're familiar with, but they have requirements for even temporary poles. And rightfully so, they have to make sure that we're not going to have an electrical line laying on the ground or falling over, because that wouldn't be healthy for anybody either. But the premise on these are all the same. You have some kind of power. And technically, you could even take that temporary pole, pull the little box that's underneath it off, and put a different box on it and run underground over to the house. I mean, that setup, generally speaking, would power the house. And then you're going to see more sophisticated racks like you start to see in the two middle pictures. Eric, you told me to go from right to left, which was unique. Generally, I go
that didn't make any sense. You're right.
Yeah. Well, this is
feeling very Egyptian today. Go from right to left.
Difference between sales and construction. We read differently. So
there's no excuse for that.
So we do see the two different racks systems there, and some of these power companies will actually provide the entire box, which I believe the green box already has some outlets on it, if I'm not mistaken.
It does.
One that's third from the left, second from the right. So there's just a variety of things. So there's not a one size fits all. I wish they'd come in and just say one size fits all and everybody was going to operate the same. It'd make life a lot easier, but that's just not the case. But generally, if you're going to do something that's out on a rack away from the home, we are going to be trenching underground at that point. And that's what this would be representing. Any one of these would be representing some type of underground electricity that's coming to the home. The other option is all of this setup, if you can envision the meter can, which has the glass meter on it, and then the panel box below it, we can actually take and mount those to the home. And then you take directly from the pole that's provided by the power company with the transformer. They'll take and run that either underground or the option of going overhead. Generally speaking, everybody's going underground these days. Sometimes it's not possible. There is some places that we cannot. generally pretty rare, few and far between, but there are some needs for overhead electricity still. But in all of these scenarios, this all works. And the beauty of having a rack, what I really like about the green box, Eric, do you know who that power company is?
That's Mid-South. That's Mid-South.
Mid-South is you're completely set up at that point, and there is no more involvement from the power company after they set up this temporary box, if I'm not mistaken. I don't. So
yep, that's it. It's done.
So instead of doing a temporary, like you see on the far left, if we could get into one of the middle pictures, if we can get that set up, we have temporary power established from the beginning so we can operate efficiently through construction. And then there is no more involvement from the power company other than possibly call them and letting them know you're going from a temporary power situation to a permanent power situation. And they generally will change your rate. I believe it's generally a reduced rate for permanent powers. But that eliminates the power company from having to come out, and everything's in our control. We have electricians that can dig trenches, chop through rock, whatever we need to do to get from that location over to the home.
Yeah.
Great.
Very nice.
All right. We have a few questions and people joining us. We've got Laura and Andy building in Bridal Gate. Stakeout is done. Options and colors are resolved. The stakeout identified a few cedar stumps we need to have have removed. Can they just be ground out, or do they need to be dug out and totally removed?
I'd prefer them to be totally removed. A few little roots here and there aren't a bad thing, but if you leave that stump, you're creating a void underneath that. And depending on where it hits, if it's in a beam or even if it's in a pad, it can cause us other mischievous things to have happen. So if anything, any kind of fibrous material that's underneath that foundation, if we get it removed, it would be the ideal situation, generally speaking.
Okay. And then Jessie is asking if we saw the picture of the bull in her house. She was laughing so hard, Mom, not so much. Yes, we have all seen it because Peyton sent it to me, and I very quickly shared it because Eric and I have this long-running joke of every time you see the pictures of a cow in a house, he's like, I'll send it to him. He'll be like, that's not our house, right? And I'm like, okay, this time it was our house. But we were very glad that he was a very considerate bull and didn't do a lot of damage. But
no, I need that picture.
Not for
him. I have not received
not
that picture yet. Y'all have excluded me from this.
Okay, I will text it to you after this because I thought I sent it to the group chat. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, guys, do livestock can do harm.
Or I may have purposely held it because I didn't want to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, I'm guessing double doors helped get the bull through there.
Yeah, somebody left some doors open.
Yeah, that's concerning. Yeah.
Yeah. Jabo said, have to cut out early today, but thank you for your help today and for continuing these Tilson Live episodes. Much appreciated. Oh, thank you. We appreciate you tuning in. Shane is asking, how much is a septic system running? I have a double wide. I'm $6,000 from paying off and get my land title. I have a septic, but the lateral lines run where I want to build my house, so probably need to move it or install a new one.
Yeah, Shane. So in Bell County, I don't have the exact pricing up. I was trying to get it before this question came up.
Do you want me to skip?
Well, I'm trying to find. Yeah, I actually do, because I'm going to try and find a Central Texas one and get it accurate. But I will go ahead and speak to the septic line. So or the double wide 6,000. I mean, that's you're there, man. Like, you're going to have great equity. And what we'd also want to talk about is, are you wanting to keep the double wide? It sounds like you're probably wanting to get rid of it because you're prepared to abandon that septic system as well. And Justin, maybe you can talk a little bit about why the lateral lines would need to be removed.
I will tell you, don't do anything. So we may have some ideas there. I'd rather my engineer, when they go out there and do soil borings, we can talk to them about that. So we may be able to not have to do something that is unnecessary at that point. So I was a little hesitant on saying, hey, you need to remove those, just because we've encountered some job sites where the customer did not know there was an old septic system, and sometimes it's tanks and sometimes it's lines. But I would have them hold off on doing anything at this point. Let us get out there, take a look at it, and maybe we can save Mr. Bosher some money.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, aerobic You stalled just long enough, Justin.
I saw you working. I knew I could do it.
If y'all can only see the central command I've got set up here, I look like USS Enterprise, boy. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff a redneck ought not have access to. So what we've got is for aerobic spray system in Bell County. So this would be obviously the design, the permit itself, the system itself, the 2-year maintenance agreement that's required by the state of Texas, all in, all done, $17,588. $17,588. That today is March the 16th, 2023.
May 16th. May 16th.
It's May 16th, 2023, 2 months after March 16th, 2023. The only thing that could affect that, Shane, would be if we encounter rock. There is a little bit more if we encounter rock, not a whole lot. But they have to bring a little bit some different equipment potentially out there if we encounter that. But like Justin said, don't do anything until our geotech goes out and takes a look, and they can go from there. But that'll get you real close of what you'd be needing.
Okay. We have Polly joining us from Grapetown, Texas, and she is the mom of the.
She's
of Jesse, and it's not letting me show. She face palmed emoji, but it won't let me show.
Restream, come on, this is 2023.
It says no. It won't let me click on it. We have a friend coming over from YouTube. My Fayetteville house is finally done, and we are closing tomorrow, and hopefully moving by the end of the month. And just wanted to send a thank you to the Tilson builder out there. And this is coming from PK above Hills in Texas.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, we got more questions.
Yes, and Jesse said she just talked to the bull, and he got the heck out of the house. So that was very kind of him.
You have quite the command presence, Jesse. Well done.
I know. Natalie's saying, I know you typically build from the ground up, but do you have the capability to renovate other buildings on a property?
We do not renovate buildings. I got you, Justin. Justin's like, oh, Eric, please don't do it. No, we don't. And
Justin's like, could I or will I?
There's some whys, right? Why not? Justin has some very great sayings, little Cajun colloquialisms, I call them. But he'll say, yes is nothing without how, and no is nothing without why. So, Justin, why? Like, what's the problem?
Well, there's folks that are out there when you talk about renovating, that can mean a lot of different things. Is if we're using that word of renovating. So there's a contractor that has a skill set that is very accustomed to our details, how we do things. And then you start running into like connecting into old systems. And that's not necessarily a skill set that all electricians, all plumbers, or even HVAC, they may not be familiar with those techniques, that equipment. And then we run into the warranty aspect of it. And that can get rather muddy as well. So I respect those guys because, man, they're good. They have to have a variety of knowledge underneath them so that they can adapt and overcome. It's just not something we're situated to do successfully. And I wouldn't want to hurt somebody and tell them, oh, yeah, we can do this, and then end up what was ideal to happen ends up not being what they expected at the end.
Yeah. The real answer, Natalie, is that we are a one-trick pony. We're a one-trick pony, and that trick is building houses from the ground up, predominantly in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But if we can do it in the middle of nowhere, it's usually pretty easy to do it in the middle of somewhere. But,
she says she just figured she would ask.
I like that strategy.
Yeah. And then we have Katie sharing, y'all are hilarious. Love these lives so much. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, they're talking about Dawn and me, by the way.
I know.
That's fair. That's safe to guess. We got Jessie saying, just call me Snow White because she can get the animals to do whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Natalie says she was just trying to kill two birds with one stone. So I guess she's putting in a new house, and then she has some other buildings that she wanted to renovate.
Yeah. Now here's what has happened, and here's something to look out for. Okay, and this is actually in our agreement, so I'll go into it. Because you asked, Natalie, and you're asking, guys, again, keep asking the questions, drop them in the chat, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Ask us anything you want to talk about. We got Justin Ordeneaux here talking about construction, talking about utilities. We can talk financing. We can talk design, anything you want to talk about. We can talk about life, like how to treat people. We can talk relationships if you want. Justin
We can
might
try.
be- I want to see Justin turn red. Anyway, so all of the trades that work for us are independent contractors. And we are responsible for everything that they do, see, touch, smell, feel, look at that has to do with the plans, the home that we've agreed to build for you and the ones that you've signed. And that's all. If they don't build the cabinets the right way, if they don't build the frame the right way, right? If the slab's the wrong dimension or something crazy like that, lights, fixtures in a wrong spot, that's on Tilson, right, Justin? That's all. That's us. Yeah. Because they're independent contractors, you are allowed to ask them to do whatever you want to that has nothing to do with the work. Okay. I don't recommend it, but you can. I can't stop you and I can't stop them. You need to know that they may say yes. If you say, hey, I got some leftover brick over here, I want you to build me a outdoor kitchen over on a completely different part of the property, right? Can that happen? That can happen. Me and Justin and Dawn got nothing to do with that outdoor kitchen over here or that.
And we haven't vetted whether or not they're qualified to do that work or if they've ever done it before.
Right. So that's going into more like, are they very good at what they do? They're extremely good at what they do. And we've got a whole lot of details telling them what to do and how we want it done. If you engage them and y'all agree to something, that's between you and that independent contractor. And we make no claims that you're going to be happy because we don't have a say in the final product. Right. So that's the only reason I go there, because it happens just in casual conversation, and they may say, no, we don't do that. Or they may very well say, yeah, you bet. Let's agree to a price. I recommend be very specific about the scope of work, be very specific about the dimensions, be as specific as you can, just like our plans are as specific as they can. You got any other advice, Justin, about when that kind of stuff goes down? Besides, please do it after closing.
Yeah.
That's actually what I was going to say, is that it either needs to be completed way ahead of when we're trying to close, or you need to wait until after, because if that work is going on, your bank's going to get twitchy about agreeing to close on the home that we have built if there's other work pending on the property.
In the ability to set a fixed budget on something like that is almost impossible to. You're going to uncover something. There's going to be something back there that it was poorly done. Weather's gotten to it. Never know when a critter might have done something. These are just things that are normally going to occur. So that's the other part, is just budget a little bit more than you anticipate when you run into that.
Yeah, good advice. Very good advice.
And she says, I hear you. Thank you. And then we got Jessie saying she's got to run. Come visit again. And side note, my husband wouldn't be happy if I named a donkey Justin, but it's fitting. Okay, bye.
I think we have a dark Justin in our past somewhere.
I think we have a clue as to what her husband's name is. I think it's what that.
I think she's calling me a donkey, but she certainly has no quorums. Nobody in the family has a problem with naming a donkey Eric. Just so we're clear after this.
100%. No, that makes sense. We can name the donkey Eric.
Context clues, that's the husband's name. That's what I'm gonna guess here.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Last call for questions, guys. We'll stay on as long as you want us to answer questions, but we'll make this kind of a last call for questions, Q&A. Anything you want to know about building on your land, permitting, scheduling, timeframes, construction, design changes, anything like that, we will talk about it. Few things going on around the state. Waco is coming to completion. We will be. The rain has set us back, obviously, a little bit. But we're trying to move furniture in there first week of June, second week of June, somewhere in there, to have that thing open. And we are going to be doing a grand opening. Dawn will announce that at a later time.
You can save the date. It is going to be August 5th.
August 5th, grand opening, Waco, Texas. Should be nice and cool then.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect. We're going to grill out. We won't need a grill. It's going to be great.
Eggs right on the concrete.
Yep.
Solid. I love it. Let's see. We passed inspections in San Marcos. Yay! So we will be insulating that. The Paladuro is coming right along, so we'll be able to get it covered up with sheetrock, and then we can blow and go. It has been us doing a tap dance with the city of San Marcos this last couple of weeks, but the music has stopped and the dance is over, and we have been approved. So that's rolling on. We're still hoping for end of November completion for the Paladuro. And then what else is going on, Don? We got seminars going around anywhere?
We do. We have lots of seminars happening in the state. Let me see where they are going. But yeah, lots of in-person stuff happening.
Yeah, get all your graduations done. Mother's Day is over. Father's Day doesn't matter. So we know that.
Yeah, we got Bernie, Katie, Georgetown, and San Marcos this Saturday.
Okay.
And then Waco and Huntsville and Melissa Memorial Day weekend. So
yeah, guys, if you are looking to learn more specifically about your area, those are great things to attend. One of the biggest takeaways that I've received feedback from customers at those is the other prospective customers that are there. They talk and start asking questions, and you kind of feed off of and learn from one another and what they're doing, what they're going through, which is a great way to learn. You learn more about the community that you're going to be living in, who the local welder is, who runs the volunteer fire department, and I'm sure, school politics and whatnot. But anyway, good, fun, small town stuff that you're signing up for that you may not know. So with that, I want to say thank you to Mr. Ordeneaux. Thank you, Justin, for joining us. I know your time is very valuable, brother. So the fact that you come spend an hour of it with us and our Tilson fam out here is awesome. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for leading your guys and girls running around out there in the state and putting these dream homes together for these customers. I do appreciate it. Thank all of you for watching. Okay, so thanks for jumping on. We would not be here if you didn't have questions and trying to figure stuff out and buying homes from us. So thank you for supporting our family, our little family-owned business. We really do appreciate you. We do not take it lightly. We know you had options, you have choices, and you chose us, and that's important. So, Dawn, thanks for putting this thing together. Appreciate that. We got some background folks, of course. We got Amanda, Kelsey, and others, probably many others that are back there that I'm not mentioning.
Rachel, yeah.
Rachel, thank you, Rachel, for putting this on, helping, doing the chat. So anyway, we will have more of these to come as we have been doing the last 2+ years. So join us again until, of course, it doesn't end here, right? We got a website that's open 24/7. We got new home specialists on standby to answer your high-level questions, make you an appointment. We got 12 design centers open 7 days a week. We got a Facebook page. We got an Instagram page. We got a YouTube channel with mountains and mountains of content to learn you about everything building on your lot. You will get learned up. You get smart. So, and you're getting your answers from the right sources. Okay. We're not talking about what they do up in Wisconsin or Massachusetts with their homes. Doesn't matter. Who cares? You're building in the great state of Texas. So go get your info from a Texas-based company. And of course, we can answer your questions anytime you want to. So come join us, ask us questions, go to the sales centers, tour the model homes. That's why we built them. We built them for you. So we hope to see you soon. And we really hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.